You're not doing this on that Periscope, are you?
We're not periscoping right now.
Just talk.
All right. Well, last year, every year the 8th graders, they take a field trip at the middle school. And, sometimes it's always different, but there's always an end of the year 8th grade field trip before they start taking the end of the year tests. So, we usually had some good ones. They've gone to, just like different businesses before. And they've seen what they do, and then it always involves Caw Lake. For some reason, they take them over to see the Caw wetlands, the wildlife preserve, show them all the water and all the swampy plants and all the swampy creatures and all the swampy people, and anyway, all the redneck swampy people. But anyway, this year they told us that we're going on a field trip to Caw Lake. And then the place after that was going to be a mystery. So we're all like, oh, that's cool. We don't know where we're going. This is going to be fun. So anyway, now hey, before I go to that part, they were serious about it. They didn't. It wasn't the place they took us to wasn't a prank. They really took us there because they wanted us to see what happened. So I don't know why, but we'll get there later. But anyway, so they took us to the wetlands, and we were riding the bus over, 2 buses full of 8th graders. In the beginning of the morning, it's really hot and humid out, and of course there's no AC on our buses, so we're all just over there. We're sweating, we're drenched, we're not happy, and then we're pulling up to this Indian building, Caw Nation, something or other, some kind of education building, and so we go inside and walk through the hallways and see all the pictures of the Indians but anyway. So we get into this big lecture hall, and we sit down, and there's some guy who he's not Native American Indian, he's actually Indian. He had some weird name, like some, one of those names you call your telemarketer, and he says, hello, this is blah, 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 blah. It's kind of one of those names. But anyway, and he's in there, and he says, I am the director of the Caw Wetlands Wildlife Preserve, and I would like to tell you about the Caw Wetlands. And so we're sitting here, we're listening to this guy after they give us a bag full of free crap, which included the bag itself, a little crappy, cheap water bottle that I think most people trashed after the first day, a really, really cheap. This is like the knockoff of the knockoffs pair of Ray-Ban sunglasses. It's just the lenses are plastic. But they had those. Then, of course, they had, gave you some literature about the Caw wetlands. And so, anyway, he's sitting down and he's showing us pictures and telling us how global warming's hurting Earth, and everybody's just kind of sitting there like this, and I'm over there picking apart everything he says, going, that's false, that's false, that's false, but whatever. The guy was an idiot. But then at the end, he started showing pictures of the Caw wetlands, and then people are starting to go, wow, that's really pretty. And he says, but now they're all dried up, and then he showed us the picture, and it's just a bunch of, just dry, and all the plants are dead, and there's no water and all that. And so we're going, oh, we thought we were going to go boating or something. No. So in place of going to see the wetlands, he told us now, the Caw Nation has funded some very good projects to help with wildlife and water and conservation and all that. So we're all like, okay, well, let's see what they've got. So we load back up on the buses, and this time the trip's even longer, and it's all out in the middle of nowhere. Driving out on these roads, and we don't know where we're going or what we're doing. And we pull up on a paved driveway, and there's chain link fences and big tanks and stuff. And I thought we were going to the oil refinery, because there's an oil refinery in Ponca City. But we drive a little further, and we see a sign over to the right side that says, Ponca City Wastewater Treatment Plant. And we go, what the, we're going, are you kidding me? They're taking us to a sewer plant for our 8th grade field trip? we're all like, I know it's not the senior trip, but it's an 8th grade field trip. I mean, come on, at least take us to the theme park or something. Nope, we're going to the wastewater treatment plant. So anyway, so we open the gates and we drive in. And we park, and it actually didn't smell as bad as I thought it would. I thought it was just going to be, like you walk into a morgue of festering old bodies. It wasn't that, but anyway, what do you expect? It is a sewer treatment plant. And you see all the big tanks and all the little pools and stuff, and they're dumping all the chemicals in and stuff. But we walk inside this building, and they have a laboratory, and they're showing us all this stuff like, well, this is E. coli, and then this is kind of what we used to treat the water, and they've got their scientists running around looking in vials and showing, how we have to clean the water before we dump it back into the river, and, how it's, the stuff in it's bad, and like we didn't know, but anyway, and so we look at the lab and kind of blow it off, not that interesting. So we walk back outside and we're looking at all the workers and stuff, and we walk up some stairs, and there's these big concrete open top tanks with a bunch of metal grating systems. It's kind of like it's kind of like you've got beams up and you're just walking on the beams above something, like in a spy movie where they're looking down on the guys below them, and then they're gonna swoop down and shoot them all or something. But anyway, kind of like that, although it's got sides and it's safe, other than what you're walking above is not safe, because what you're walking above is the stuff that you flush out of your toilet right when it comes in. So, it's all just brown, and there's a bunch of, they've got, filters and stuff, and they've got fountains out in the middle of it that keeps it moving around so it doesn't get so stale. So it's like, you got how rich people have the fountains in their little things in front of their house. It's just that, but brown. So anyways, and then there's, of course, bugs flying around. You see something swimming in the water, and you don't know what it is. But anyway, and they were talking about how they have released insects to come eat out all the what was the word they used? Solid waste. You can't just say poop. You have to say solid waste. So anyway, and I said. I leaned over to one of the girls next to me and I said, well, they're feeding them a bunch of bull crap. I said, talk about having a crappy job, And of course I had some other poop related puns, but anyway, after a while they got old, but for the time it was what seemed right. That's later. That's a long way away. Anyway, there's a process here. It's a very intelligent process. But anyway, so that was the first stage, and so we're going, okay. So we're going now. We go over here to this this area, and it's been a while since I've told this story, about 6 months. So you'll have to give me some time. But anyway, before that, before what I just told about, there's a big old screen before, and that filters out, like if you're a drug dealer and the cops are coming and you flush your Ziploc bag of meth and cocaine down the toilet. There was a screen that caught all that, and of course, some other less than reputable items that people flush down the toilet. Women's necessities and all that, flushing. And that's where they get caught there. They didn't tell us what they did with all that stuff, and I didn't ask. But anyway, and so then back after the poop fountains, we're going over to this room, and so they've got a room, and it was a multi-million-dollar machine, and its sole job. Well, when you walk in here, there's a bunch of water flowing down on the floor. And you're going, well, what's all that water? And it didn't look that dirty, but, so we're walking through it, and then it's only just like, that you're not like up to your knees or anything. But so you're walking through that. We walked up some stairs, and there's a bunch of machines going pop, pop, and there's conveyor belts, and there's something rolling off into a dump truck on the other side of the building. And they explained to us what we were seeing is a machine, a multi-million-dollar machine, that's sole purpose is to squeeze the water out of poop. They literally, after the bugs and the poop fountain supposedly ate out all the microbes and all the bad stuff, all you have left is just the solid poop. So it doesn't. Oh yeah, the bugs ate all the bad stuff out. Now you just got poop, like you can smear it on your face, and it's going to be healthy and not smell bad. But anyway, so this machine, its sole purpose is to squeeze the water out of the poop. Now, there's a problem with that. I mean, there's no problem with squeezing the water out of poop. I mean, all 5-year-olds have done it. But anyway, but there's no pipes for the water to go to. And so then I put 2 and 2 together that what we just walked up through was the poop water that got squeezed out of the poop. We just walked through all the stuff that got squeezed out. And so anyway, we were looking, and so after we decided to not cry about walking through poop water.
Watch the dump trucks carry on.
Yeah, we were watching the conveyor belt, and every hour they fill up a dump truck. And you can have, and this is a whole new facility. Everything here is brand new. So they can have multi-million-dollar poop pressing machines, but they can't have a dadgum respectable dump truck to carry the poop. So we walk outside and we're watching the conveyor belt go splat, 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 and we kind of watch this dump truck. It's like you take one of those, you film something that's slow and then you speed it up, like a construction process of a building. Although this is filling up a dump truck with waterless poop. And anyway, and so this dump truck, it looks like what it's carrying. But anyway, and so there's a guy, we watch the dump truck and it's just about to, they've got it so full, it's just about to start falling off the side. So they go ahead and they turn the conveyor belt off. And they say, yeah, we gotta watch it or we'll overflow. We've done that. And so anyway, and so the guy gets in there and he's trying to start it and it barely starts. He's just stomping on all the pedals and flicking buttons on the dash and he keeps trying and he finally gets it going and it just sounds like blah, 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 blah. I guess if I was carrying 2 tons of poop, I wouldn't run very well either. But so they drive off and they go dump it over in these concrete bays. They're just dumping it and they're letting it set and there's birds swirling around and all kinds of stuff. And I was wondering what they did with all that, so I asked, well, what do y'all do with that now? Do you just let it set here? And they said, well, there's farmers that buy it for their fields. It's good fertilizer. Human waste, yeah. And they say, yeah, we deliver it, And so anyway, and of course now I'm just repulsed by the fact that we're sitting over here today's Thanksgiving and we're here eating Thanksgiving dinner, and what grew that was what I pooped out about 6 months ago. Was my waterless, sun-dried poop. So yeah, but anyway. They let it sit out there until somebody buys it, so they can be sitting out there for a couple of months, But anyway, but then back to so that was the poop pressing part. That was my favorite part. But anyway, so now back to the water treatment stuff. They're showing all these big tanks and stuff where they start letting anything that got missed by the poop presser settle out to the bottom. And then so they start taking the water, and now they're starting to add chemicals and all this stuff with skull and crossbones on the bottle, and they're dumping it in and stuff. And I'm going, that's why I'm going to college. But anyway, and so you're watching them, and And then they've got these open tanks, and the water just swirls around. There's something that just comes around and moves around, and it dumps chemicals in and mixes it all. You know, it's like the mixer that you use when you're mixing batter, except this is poop water and chemicals. But anyway, and so they get it all filtered out, and they said, you could, once we're done with this water, you can be able to drink it if you wanted to. And I said, and I was thinking, you can drink it all you want, just your conscience is not going to be healthy afterwards. You may be physically healthy, but your conscience isn't going to be, because you saw this water come in, and, you know. Anyway, and so then after it's all filtered out, they're right there by the Red River, and they've got a huge, just it looks like Niagara Falls of clean poop water flowing into the river. And so anyway, and then we watch the water shoot on out and go down the river, and then we think to ourselves, for our 8th grade field trip, we got to go see the Ponca City wastewater treatment plant.
But how many of those tanks did they have to redo, and some of them weren't working or something?
Oh yeah, well back when they had rebuilt the plant, the whole plant and everything, they had ripped everything out, but they decided they thought they were going to use this one tank that had been original to the plant, the first plant since like the 30s. They thought they were going to use it for some reason, and they never did. And but they never drained it. So it's been sitting here since they remodeled the plant in like 2010. For 5 years, it's been sitting here undrained. And hence they said, well, you know, we never drained it, and it started kind of smelling bad. So we threw some plants down in there, and the plants started growing. And then they decided, well, hey, we'll put some fish down in there too. Then they were saying how every once in a while they just put some fish down in there, but they never really see the fish again. And after they put them in there, and they're like, we don't know what keeps happening to them. There's pipes that this tank's connected to, so they could be swimming around in those pipes. But I'm going, I'd die if I was in 5-year-old poop water too. But they say, every once in a while we'll get a raccoon crawls down in there, tries to go eat the fish, but we don't see them again either. And for some reason, it just blows their mind that creatures cannot survive in unfiltered 5-year-old poop water with no source of energy other than Johnson grass. Those are the only plants they got. I mean, they threw flowers and stuff down there, but the flowers died. But anyway, that was our 8th grade field trip.
But the next day, the slower learning kids went. I hope they had something even more interesting happen.
No.
The screen had tampons and stuff on it.
That's what I told about.
Okay.
That's it.
All right.
Yeah.